YouTube's copyright bot is about to lose its What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the library. Let's jump right into it. So this video was originally supposed to be scripted, and after trying to sit down and write the script, I realized it would be better if we just did it live, if you will. So my inflections and reactions are more genuine and, to the point, if you will. So today's video concerns 5 games that essentially live rent-free, happily and peacefully in my brain for the last 25 years. In the era of the PlayStation, nailing the opening of your game intro was everything. And it didn't matter if it was CG, live action, sprite-based, whatever. If you knew your game was going to be on demo in a game store, you needed to gain people's attentions just like the attract screens of arcade games. And in thinking about this subject matter for the last year, these are the 5 games that always come to mind right away. Now, are they the top 5 games that do it? No. This is strictly just 5 games that just freaking nail their opening, and you might be shocked by some of my choices. So right off the bat, we're going to jump into FIFA 98 World for the World Cup. Blur's song number 2 was everywhere that year when it came out, and I could not think of a better choice to introduce a soccer game where part of the game is essentially having a ball kicked at your head. The way EA pulled off this amazing opening was to first have an amazing rocking song in song number 2. 2, pay attention to how much of the video is focused on in-your-face action. The country flags zoom in towards you. They are always on the move, either running into the stadium or running around the stadium. The action of the in-game player characters, or the clearly not real CG players, are always super close to the screen. Even at the end, as the demo ends, there's a soccer ball, and quite a few of them, literally kicked towards you. It was just an absolutely amazing intro, and it is the first one we're going to start. Even if you don't play sports games, this will get you hyped.
It wasn't easy, but nothing else. No. When I feel heavy metal, and I feel that I need when I lie easy all of the time, but I'm never sure why I need you. Because I need you.
Our second intro is for the game 1 by ASC Games. So the reason I love this intro was when I was still working at Microplay, this game had came in and we decided just to, hey, let's throw it in the PlayStation, check it out. It might have been a demo disc, now I think about it. The opening of 1 grabs you by the balls with 4 words. I made a mistake. As the helicopters come in and you realize they're coming for you, one of the voices you hear say, "Roger that," sounds exactly like the voice that spoke the 4 words. It creates this amazing intensity, curiosity, this need to know, and the opening ends with a missile being fired at you, and then when the game begins, you leap out of that explosion and have to haul ass away from the helicopter. To this day, 1's opening is just absolutely fantastic and probably one of the best opening to starting level lead-ins I've ever seen. let's get to it.
I made a mistake.
Unit 5, Sector 8. Clear. Wideband scan 44.1 gigahertz. Random search block 1. Roger that. All units, assistance required on 7th and Jocelyn.
Zulu 5-1, on our way.
Our third opening is probably one of my favorites from a game I didn't expect to love as much, and that is Soul Blade. Now, I say that back in the day as a very angsty, opinionated 20-something-year-old. I just did not care for 3D fighting games. I thought they were too easy. I thought that just jamming on an X button to do automatic combos was, you know, bad. And then Soul Blade came into the store one day, and that pretty much changed my entire appreciation for 3D fighting games. So why is the opening to Soul Blade / Soul Edge so important? If you'd never played the arcade game, this is what you got if you played version 1, and if you played version 2, you happen to get a random character just staring at you. Nothing that exciting, nothing too big. Whatever, it's the arcade. So when the game came home to the PlayStation, and we slapped that game into our kiosk, I've mentioned this before in the top 10 games video for that year, when that cinema started, and if you weren't there at the time, Namco's CG was ridiculous for the time. Like, we were still talking like broken ankles and wrists as where textures hit. And one of the, I think it was a Game Fan summed it up best by saying, oh my god, they rendered an entire canyon for a 3-second part. That's how much love and dedication went into this. What also builds up the excitement for this opening, besides being a superior version of the arcade intro, is that, one, the opening of the CG begins with basically the characters in their natural environments. Slowly, it works to them fighting each other or doing their martial arts practices, or, since it's a Japanese CG, fan service with the female characters. Side tangent, I love that in her fan service, Taki basically just takes off her mask because it leaves nothing to the imagination for the rest of her outfit. But this is also one of the reasons why Soul Blade made the number 2 spot in our top arcade conversions of all time video, which you can watch in whatever corner it appears in for the card. So guys, you've seen the arcade intro. Here's what people got to see on launch day.
Transcending history and the world, a tale of soul and swords, eternally retold.
We all need to shine on to see how far we've come on a journey.
Our penultimate entry, damn it, Pearson. Our second to last entry is Final Fantasy VII. Now, because the intro is so long, I'm going to kind of hack it off in the middle and then rejoin it with the CG. But to give you guys an understanding of just how important first impressions are, at the time, Final Fantasy VII was caught in the middle of the entire Sony leaving Nintendo to join, Sony leaving Nintendo from the Super Nintendo CD-ROM, and then Squaresoft leaving Nintendo to join Sony with the CD-ROM and the PlayStation. Stakes were so high that Nintendo's CEO at the time, whose name I can't remember, basically called RPG players lazy and that they sat in dark rooms and that he didn't need them for his Nintendo 64 system. That's how crazy it got. So when Final Fantasy VII finally arrived, obviously in Japan first, Squaresoft had to figure out how to capture the audience. Basically, their fan base had to buy a new system, PlayStation, to play their newest game, Final Fantasy VII, after all their games had been on Nintendo systems prior. And they did that in 3 amazing ways. 1, they start off with an intro that sounds like it could almost be straight from the Super Nintendo sound chip as the opening credits roll. This simple tune, if you let it play out, literally sounds like every Super Nintendo Final Fantasy. Where it becomes genius is that once you see the Final Fantasy VII logo, it transitions into the now famous CG of Aerith standing in front of what looks like a fireplace, but really isn't because she's in the middle of a street. As she walks into the town square, the camera pulls back and is basically telling you, yeah, you're about to be in for a world of everything you can think of. Technology, people, there's clearly media with the singers and the movie posters and so forth. It was the technology presented was a huge step away from the previous Final Fantasies where it was more medieval based with castles and the like. For such a hard left turn of the series to appear and start on the next system was eye-opening. And of course, you get the crazy sequence of as the train comes barreling in that you're brought into the middle of something right away. You're not some boy who knows a dragon in a house in a town and your dad's the, king knight and so forth. It's, hey, we're technically bad guys doing a bad thing for the good of the people. Let's jump into it. And it truly is just one of the best, if slower paced and longer openings that you'll ever see on the PlayStation. As I said, I've cut the opening credits part just for time, but otherwise, check it out. All right, and finally, it's more of a disc than a game, but to this day, and it is a hill I will die on, the best opening ever, as far as my personal opinion goes, on the PlayStation was the Hear It Now, Play It Later disc. If you weren't there at the time, when you pre-ordered the PlayStation on day one, meaning it was still months out, you were handed a Hear It Now, Play It Later demo disc. Now you might be thinking, why the hell would I want a demo disc for a system I'm not going to have for a couple months? Here's how it worked. The opening and your introduction to the PlayStation started with Sony's bread and butter, music. If you took that demo disc home and threw it into anything that could play a music CD, including your Sega Saturn, you would be treated to a multi-track music CD that after a few tracks would actually play these weird PlayStation advertisements, including really bizarre single-sentence hints for the games. For example, the Ridge Racer ad track basically is telling you in a not-so-subtle way that you need to shoot all the aliens at the beginning of the game to unlock the extra cars. In a really cool move, when he does the Ballerina Toshinden move runoff, as he says the words left and right, the left and right audio channels are picked up. So you literally hear right on the right side and left on the left side. It is one of the coolest touches I've ever seen. So now that you've got your music CD played, when the system finally got into your hands, eager people could slap that demo disc in and see what the PlayStation was capable of. And this includes the infamous dinosaur demo, the rotation demo, the frog demo where you could have tons and tons of frogs bouncing around with a goofy sound effect, and more importantly, the full screen FMV footage of the girl with the makeup and so forth, showing how much better in quality the video and the polygons were to the already existing and out Sega Saturn. It was a brutal and brilliant marketing scheme, and it clearly paid off in spades. So, because this one doesn't have a true opening, I figured I would show you guys the tracks you could listen to, including IG's left and right, and then I'll just show you some of the demos. But yeah, like I said, they're not, except with the exception of the demo, these aren't the top 5, but they are 5 games that always live rent-free in my head for their openings. Do you guys have a favorite opening? Let me know what game, doesn't matter what system. Let's get the conversation started below. With that, I'll leave you with the demo disc. Take care, guys. See you next video.
Hey, you. Yeah, you. The person standing next to the CD player. Get your finger off of that and listen up. A new player has entered the video entertainment field, and its product's so fat, it blows away all the comp. This is the moment of truth, and now let me introduce the newest player. The name is Sony PlayStation, and the experience is now yours. No other rinky-dink company or product brings so much to video games. The Sony PlayStation's got what it takes. The premium technology and prime games, period. PlayStation puts you in control of multiple independent custom processors filled to the brim with power and speed. Up till now, this power Namco's Ridge Racer. An expert marksman gets more keys. Cabal.
High punch, high punch,
Down.
Low punch.
Down.
high punch.
ESPN Extreme Games. Money isn't everything, but it brings you to a whole new world. AG.
Up,
Down.
up.
Down.
Left, right, hard kick, hard slash.